Today we are going to be covering the for loop. Now, what is a for loop? Or more perfectly to say, what is a loop? Now, a loop is something that basically gets done over and over again. If you have ever delved into game development or anything around there, you might have heard about a game loop. Now, let's say a program runs. This is add some code here. So let's say we run this program. Now, the thing that makes this program stay on top of the screen and not just automatically close is its loop. It's a loop that helps the application run. This is basically a game loop but for applications. Now this loop will stop running as soon as I press X, and then once the loop stops running, there's no reason for the code to repeat itself and stay on top. So let's give you an actual example. Let's create a variable I, which is an integer, and let's do a for. Now to do a for loop, you just have to go for and press space. Delphi should automatically it all for you. Now for I becomes, let's say I becomes 1 at this moment, and then let's say to 12, and it's going to begin and end. Now basically what this says, I becomes 1, and run this loop. Then once the loop reaches its end right here, I becomes 2, and then runs the loop again, and then I becomes 3 once it reaches the end, and so on until I is 12. So let me show you an example. Just make this smaller. Let's make this 5. Now I'll go a show message, and let me show you what will happen if you run this. Now if you press the button, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I printed out I towards the screen. This loop will basically allow us to execute code continuously. But basically, just remember that this is just a loop that will continuously run over and over again until it reaches its endpoint. So there's another way you can use this loop. You can use down to. Now this is basically backwards. You can count downwards from 5 to 1. So I becomes 5, and will basically what will happen then is I will become I minus 1. This is basically what will happen. And then it's going to drag until it gets to 1. So if we run this again, click the button, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And that is the basics of for loops. Just note that the loop is basically just something that will run over and over again until it reaches its destination.